What are the new threats to democracy? There's some old ones that started when the country started, and then there's some new ones they pulled together. And that's a part of the thing we want to make sure we pull together. How many people remember that in 2016, a person by the name of Hillary Clinton won the popular vote? Just raise your hand. So how, if she won the popular vote, Miss Kim, how did Trump end up in office?
The Electoral College.
The Electoral College. All right, I'm going to start putting some dots there. Let's connect it up. So the real deal is our popular vote influences what's supposed to happen on that end. That's why we have to educate one another. But also, as an old fighter in this work, I can tell you, we've known about working in the streets, in the courts, in public policy. Not one or the other, but the three together. Why? Because in America, nothing much is accomplished without tremendous protest. So, if we don't want our vote invalidated, we need to turn out in tremendous numbers so that the question of the role of the ruling class of this country, and indeed the world, that, oh, we don't know who they really wanted to vote for. Gee, maybe they put in some write-in names, Mickey Mouse and their cousins. No, you need to be informed about what that process is so it's very clear, because it needs to be a part of our working in the courts, in the streets, on our public policy. So I want to just kind of pull it together, because why are we having these different presentations and talking about all this injustice that happens to us, and yet we need to vote? I think it's incredibly important, but I'm going to wait on my comments until after these next speakers. So, you know, I'm old enough to have lived here in 1989 when Oakland in the Bay Area had an earthquake. Anybody else was around when the 89? The youngsters were too, okay. And that was an earthquake. Stuff fell down. I mean, things happened. And there's been other political earthquakes. And when a certain few nice little ladies sitting up here at this table kind of invoked a Fannie Lou Hamer moment of being sick and tired of being sick and tired, and determined that if there could be all of this doggone housing, what in the world do we have 4,000 or 8,000? The number changes every time I hear it. But all these doggone encampments around us. And when those moms stood up, straightened up the back, they allowed every one of us to straighten up our backs. They caused an earthquake, political earthquake, y'all. Helped to tell our folk, we do not have to live on these doggone sidewalks like we are rats. But we cannot achieve anything different individually. We have to pull it together. So they did that. And so one, we want to show them some love, but we also want to learn some lessons, because we still got 7,999 more families out on them doggone streets in the richest damn country on the planet, and in a city that has so many billionaires, or I should say a region that has so many billionaires, and all this empty luxury housing. With that, I'm going to bring my friends up. I think I'm supposed to bring up one of the co-founders. Should we both have them both stand up?
Yes.
The co-founders of Moms for Housing.
So Moms for Housing, our mission was always to reclaim vacant homes owned by speculators back into the hands of the community. This was always our mission. We're a group of moms who have organized in Oakland for a long time. I know I've organized since I was a teenager, and I went to college in Mississippi, and upon returning home in April, I came home and there was no sense of community. Like, I'm from East Oakland, born and raised. I came back back to my block and nobody was there. It looked different. And when you think about coming home, you think about seeing folks have gotten older, like some of my friends. I'm like, okay, well, I have kids, maybe they have kids. We can bond, we can rebuild our friendships. And everybody is in Vallejo, everybody's in Stockton, Antioch, Modesto, but they're still commuting here for work. And either we're displaced out far, like an hour and a half away, or we're out on the streets. And when I came home to that, that changed the whole course of what I wanted to do with my life. I wanted to study medicine, I wanted to do those type of things, but this is a health crisis for our people in Oakland, sleeping out on the streets. Folks are dying every day. And I was homeless. I came home, I was homeless with my 2 small children. I'm organizing every single day. I work for ACE, and it's a tenant rights organization, so I'm fighting for tenant rights, and I'm homeless, and the folks I'm talking to, they're homeless too. So it seemed like we were a little bit too late. So the moms, we got together and we formed Moms for Housing, and on November 18th, we occupied a home on Magnolia Street to bring awareness to the speculation. These companies like Wedgwood, who own the house on Magnolia Street, they're displacement machines. They're composed of 5 different companies, and they all play a hand in the mass displacement of our people. And we wanted to highlight that. And I know some of our criticisms were, oh, it's criminal what you did, and we're on stolen land. We're on stolen land here, so when we talk about criminal acts, let's talk about that. And let's talk about our people. 4,000 to 6,000 folks sleeping on the street, that should be criminal. Finding shelter for your children is not the criminal act. And companies like Wedgwood, they're criminals. They hoard homes. They buy hundreds of homes a month, and they hoard them just for profit. So this is a movement. Moms for Housing has started a movement. It's catching fire. It's a grassroots movement, but we want to change policy before it gets to that point where you're on the street. And we want the U.S. To recognize housing as a human right. The United Nations has recognized housing as a human right, and we need the United States to do the same thing. So it won't be a matter of you being homeless, because if you put out, you can sue because you have a right to housing. Our basic needs and basic rights are being commodified. If we don't stop it here, we're gonna have to pay for air. We're gonna have to pay for all of our basic needs. And we just wanted to highlight that. And we're gonna keep fighting. We're gonna keep uplifting housing as a human right wherever we are. And it was just a trip for people to ask about the support, and it was just so amazing to see our community have our back. But it just lets us know that this is everyone's fight, and this is resonating with everyone, because it's all for greed, and it doesn't matter your education. They tell you to go to college. I did that. I got a degree. I did all of those things that they tell you to do. We went through all of the moms. We went through the 211 programs that are set up in Oakland for moms to be able to have shelter for their children. They gave us the runaround. And I know that even being in those offices, they had us waiting for like 3 hours. Like, you're waiting for 3 hours, you need services. It's very discouraging for folks that need help to seek help in this system here. So there's a lot of things that have to change in Oakland, but it's gonna take all of us to come together to change those things. And we saw the power of the people, because when we first started, nobody was reaching out to us. Like, yeah, we had media coverage, but when this got national, pressure bust pipes, because our city officials, we had 3 council members that came out in full support from the beginning, but even the council member whose district the house stood in has remained silent. And now our mayor, our governor coming out, everybody is coming out in support of Moms for Housing, but we sent letters months ago. But we know that that's what it's going to take to change things. We're going to have to come together, and we're going to have to put pressure on our elected officials, our community leaders, all of those, and we're going to have to come together and change this thing ourselves, because we see that unless we do that ourselves, they're going to keep riding by encampments and keep stepping over us on the streets unless we come together change this thing.
All right.
Good morning.
Morning.
Thank you for having us. I'm Misty Cross, one of the co-founders of Moms for Housing. I just wanna thank you all for having us. I think this campaign, this movement, and while we're in the movement and the eyes is on Oakland right now because of this movement, we got the power of the people to make change, but we have to do that together. So we all have to be able to run these polls. We have to be able to pass this word along to one another so that we can make change. We, like she said, this movement started because we went through a lot. And it's really hard when you're going through a lot as students, being able to focus on your schoolwork, trying to provide an education and something for yourself, for your future, for you to provide for your children. I just wanted to talk about how important it is for us to vote. It's important, and like Mike said, not just the big votes. Our local votes are important because that's what's controlling our city. We have to get out to the local votes to really make an impact on what's happening here. We can no longer sit around and have these officials sit and not do their jobs. We got to start holding them accountable. The reason why we're going through all of this is because they're sitting there. They're letting this happen. This is all by design. This is a part of their plan. This is what most of them were paid to do. But we can change that narrative. We can flip it around on them and use what they thought was working against us, against them.
Come on now.
Like, let's go out and take their seats. We got 5 of them open up. We got these things. I went in as a write-in candidate for West Oakland for the District 3 school board because I seen what they was doing in my West Oakland schools. I'm born and raised here. I'm gonna tell y'all my age because he made a joke, but yeah. I'm 40 years old, and I don't look like what I've been through. I was a victim of a violent crime, shot 3 times with an AK-47 in these streets. I bled on these streets. I do community work here. This is my city. They don't run nothing. So when we talk about voting and why is it so important, because our children do hold the future. The elders look up to us to start holding this. Our ancestors did work. They fought, they died for us to have the right to vote. And that showed change. If you pay attention to the history, it showed how they made that change and how it worked for us. But we got to start bringing that back. We got to change the narrative of what they got us thinking, that our vote doesn't matter, that it's going to keep on happening. It's only going to keep happening if we sit back and don't do anything. I hear these kids like, oh my God, like you're so famous. And I'm like, baby, this is only the beginning. It's a long road ahead because we're taking on a system.
Come on now.
We're taking on a system. You go to these city council meetings, you're sitting there and these people tell their stories. And everybody's story matters because it's a part of them that's keeping them going. You're living off of your own dream. I don't know when the last time I had a dream where I closed my eyes. I dream when I'm walking because I was so glad that I survived where I had been, that I didn't want to go back to, and I didn't want to be a victim of what I've been through. And that's the reason why I stay moving forward. But to be here today and to share this panel with all of these people who gave you an insight on how this capitalism is all working hand in hand, one by one, it's all starting with the school to prison pipeline, like he's saying, with the capitalism about the voting, about the housing, it's all a part of it. But if we don't stand up and we start speaking about it now, we're all going to be a victim of this. Everybody is one paycheck away from being homeless if you're not now. You're living with a family member. You're living with a friend, whether you're on a couch, whether you're renting a room, you're homeless. We want to own homes. We want to be comfortable. We don't want to have to be under stipulations. You can't have somebody that's breaking up families. You got black families choosing, I don't want to lose my Section 8 while you're here. So you got to go. So that's another homeless person in the streets. But people not looking at that. We have to make real decisions on how this system is making us behave. We can't keep blaming one another. It's time to put the egos down. It's time for us to start sticking together. It's time for us to really start voting, passing on this information. We're not harvesting it. Moms for Housing is going to be at everything. We serving notice to every angle in this city because we've had enough. We've had enough. We're mothers. We don't want our kids to have to go through this. And it's not about the materialistic things. It's about just living and having life. That breath, when you're able to breathe and just rest after you got off of days of work. Not feeling like you're drained and you got to just go to work the next day. You're like a machine. We don't want to be machines. We want to be human beings. And we want to be treated as such.
What we're going to do, Kim, so first of all, y'all need to show them a lot of love, right? Because they come up, right? And they are also trying to make sure that we get this linked up. And that earthquake I told you about, we are talking about our city being that political earthquake, and these moms helped kick that shit off. Oh, that's not academic language. Here is a space where academia and our political understanding come together. And this is the connection around the election stuff. So, Kim, I don't know if you had some key questions. First of all, any of the students, if there's questions, I know what happens is there's students come in and out, and different classrooms and different students come in and out. So there might be something you didn't hear or something you want a clarification on, or if you might just say, well, now, why did y'all do A, B, and C? This is the space. Let's get it on now because it's community, baby. So anybody, question, comment, and Jessica, you don't have to leave. You're here. You're part of this. So, okay, good. So we want to just make sure. All right, so we knew you guys were going to do that. I know, so we knew you guys were going to do that, so that's why we did some feeder questions. Ha, ha, ha. So go ahead, Miss Kim. Y'all hold this, because y'all can
I've just been so impressed with you all's work because we've been hearing from students and from people in the community about, like you guys are saying, so many of us are one paycheck away from being homeless ourselves. We're very insecure. And there hasn't been, the mayor has been doing things like building little houses and saying people can sleep in their cars at night. And we know that's not a real solution. So when you all actually took a home,
there we go.
like we all deserve a home, that was just meant so much to me and so many people of Oakland that we saw turning out to support you all. So I wanted to ask two questions. One, how did you find out that that house was owned by, because I think it's really important that that was not just a house that one family owned, mom and pop. That's owned by a huge corporate landlord that owns like 30 properties, I think, in Oakland or something crazy like that. So how did you find out that that house was owned by a corporate landlord? And then, like, what's going on now? My understanding is that they were going to sell the house to you or to the land trust. So those are my two questions.
Okay, so the community, doing outreach and being in our communities, when we talk about the homeless crisis, we ask folks that own houses, and they're like, well, this house is vacant. I think on the corner where the Magnolia House is, if you look right across, there's 3 vacant properties just on that corner. With that house, it's 4 on one corner. And it was an eyesore on the block. And then doing a little research, we saw that it was owned by a corporation. And that's why that was the house we chose, because we wanted to highlight the speculation in Oakland, and we want speculators out of Oakland. And what was, I'm sorry, your second question?
What is about the community land trust? How's that go? What is a community land trust?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Are they gonna give you guys the house?
Yeah, the Oakland Community Land Trust, I don't know if it was founded last year, maybe 3 years ago. I just got back in April. But I know that, I think it's 14 million, it's up to 14 million a year. And it's a board that is committed to keeping land permanently affordable. So they have this fund through the city council where they're able to purchase homes for folks so they can stay in the community. So we're in negotiation with Wedgwood, but we're still gonna have to put some pressure on Wedgwood and on our mayor of Oakland, who has been absent, to win this home. So we are still in negotiation with Wedgwood.
Okay.
Okay. Ethel, did you have another question?
Yeah,
you
so
wanted to ask,
some of
or-
the questions that's come up sometime from the students is, well, so what happens when you can't pay your rent? So we're talking about people at the farthest end who might already be in crisis on the streets or in shelters or some combination. What happens when you can't pay your rent? What choices, what advice do you then give to maybe some of our students' families who are trying to catch up with these skyrocketing rents that they keep doing? What do you ladies advise? Nico, hi.
Well, I'm also organizer in ACE for the Black Housing Union, and if folks are facing like a rent increase, or they need help with back mortgage payments, ACE in Central. Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, ma'am.
So ACE, Alliance of California for Community Empowerment, has resources for folks who are struggling, and we have free legal support. If you're facing slumlord conditions, a wrongful rent increase, harassment, any kind of intimidation by your landlord, we have resources for free legal help, but we also organize around, so right now we have folks on rent strike on 29th in East Oakland, and they're actually going to have a rally on Thursday at 6:30 p.m. if you all want to come out for that, because that's something that ACE is doing. So we not only help with the free legal services, but we organize ourselves and we come out and support for our members.
Where's the rally?
It's going to be on 29th Ave. And if you go on aceaction.org or our Facebook page, it'll be, all of the details will be on there.
We want to play a video. Are people aware that there is this tenant strike? A whole building of workers are on strike, withholding their rent payments. Raise your hand if you know about this. All right, so a lot of people don't, few hands up. We're going to show you a little bit about that, and it's connected to this fight, this movement. Forget just the fight. I mean, yes, we have to fight, but we're trying to fight towards something. So can you play that for us, Kim?
And then, after I play this, I want to ask you guys and the moms, how can we continue this type of work to make housing a human right?
Yes.
Because if housing is a human right, you can't make people pay for it if they don't have any money.
Exactly.
If housing is a human right, you can't make people live in the streets because they can't afford rent.
Yep.
So then, that's what the moms did. They made it a concrete battle that housing is a human right. And they made the city choose. They made our so-called leaders decide. Are we gonna choose this corporation who's making profit for millionaires? Are we gonna choose moms with kids who have to live in the street? And only because of the public pressure did they choose the moms.
Yes. Yes.
That is the only way we're gonna win.
Yes.
So my question, I want to think, look at what these folks are doing. We're gonna show an ACE, the same organization that helped work with the Moms for Housing, is also organizing this rent strike, or helping to organize it, as far as I understand.
A whole building.
And so thinking about what can we do? What can you all do? We're gonna hear later about student housing insecurity. We need housing here. We need public housing. We need Section 8 housing for our students. What can we do to make housing a human right?
All right. So one of the things that I would suggest that people do is they go to their city council and speak at the council in whatever city you live in, and tell the council that what you want to do is you want to preserve housing, and that the decommodification of housing is a very important thing to do, because if you continue to commodify housing, then that's what brings in the investors that come in and buy land and then just leave it vacant. We have a lot of people that are coming in from overseas. We have a lot of people coming from other states, and we have people from other cities that are coming into our communities and buying up the land that's taking it away from an opportunity. So we can speak to our city councils and have them either tax those properties at a very high rate, or do whatever they can do to discourage this type of thing so that people have housing available made to them.
Questions out there, like how many of you heard of Malcolm X? Martin Luther King, Rosa Parks. This is what sparked the fire inside of me. What even inflamed it a little bit more was being a part of this, living through it, being homeless, being a victim of a violent crime, and being a victim of my own city.
There you go. There you go.
Like, still, I'm telling you, listen, let me give you a little background on me. So, I've attended Hoover Elementary School. I've attended Marcus Foster Middle School, which is now closed down, and they want to make it to a central kitchen. School has been coming out of Prescott. That's been our central kitchen for decades.
Right.
It's been feeding every student in West Oakland and throughout the Oakland Unified School District for decades. That little small school has served all of our kids. And for some reason, the attack has started with our public education. The reason why the state tests our kids in the 3rd grade is to build more prison cells.
Come on now.
Based on the failure of our 3rd grade students that are, one, getting failed through a system that is not putting the tools in the school for our kids to succeed. With the free education, then they come here, community colleges, thinking forward for their future, thinking that they can fight for something and be something of themselves and get here and struggle too. Because the system has still failed them. We gotta start waking up and saying, something gotta light the fire in all of us. And if it took the moms to say, enough is enough, from being told from the system, once you call, the system is built to break us. And when I tell you, if you're not built for this, it's not for you, because Oakland is about to be on fire from here on out. So if you're not ready for this fight, you might as well do what they told us to do. Pick up our bootstraps and get up out of here and go where you feel comfortable. Because it's only going to get a little bit hotter here. Because we're going to keep the flame behind everybody. So when you see us out here, don't think that we just out here for no fame or no clout. This is not it. This was our lives. This was us running into dead ends, going to the social services and at the welfare office. After I worked all these hours, I gotta sit here and I gotta wait for a number to call me to tell me that I don't qualify. Because I made over the amount for this month. So me and my kids don't qualify for emergency care. Try the 211 process. You have to consistently call that number. Every day, they only take a certain amount of people a day. So you gotta have that fight in you to continue to keep going to put a place over your head. You done ran out of choices to live with your family. You get tired of them having attitudes with you for coming in. I done been through it all. I done slept on a couch bed with my 4 children. Let me tell you, 10 months pregnant, climbing on a bunk bed. Come on. Went through a shelter process. You don't look like what you've been through unless you show it. And I wouldn't show you not one bit. You wouldn't. If I raised my shirt, you would see how scarred up I am from being shot. But I don't carry myself that way. I try to put the fight back into our people because that's where it should be. We fought too long to not have the simple things. Housing should have been a human right, whether you can afford it or not. The public education is being attacked, my kids don't take the state test. And for the reasons why I educated myself on, because the state doesn't need to know where to place my kid. The district does, so that my kid can move forward with their education.
There you go.
The state is using this as a barrier to build more prisons. They're making money off of us.
Yes.
Little misdemeanors are turning into lifelong sentences. The kids are wondering, oh, I can't do this. No, because once you take that probation, you just signed an agreement to the state.
Yes.
You their property.
Yes.
You no longer belong to yourself. And that's what we're trying to break. All of these systems that they got in place, with us out here fighting each other on the hoods and stuff. I was shot instantly, not even knowing. Through the grace of God, I was so happy that I was saved. And from then on, and from 2006, I made it my duty to stand up, to stay at long school board meetings for the parents to come back and translate it in the English language or in the hood translation that they wasn't knowing. It had to come back. I stood up for my community. I became the chair of the Residential Action Council of the Hoover Foster Corridor. There was nobody my age in there. Nobody. But I felt it was time for a change and for our elders to know you can pass the torch.
Yes.
You can pass that, because we're going to educate our people on how to stand strong and come together, and let's not fight this alone. We got to stop being able to just be able to be so comfortable when we get indoors that it's easier to talk about somebody on the streets. I be in these encampments. These are my people.
Come on now.
Regardless of what they look like.
Yes.
I don't blame them. I blame
Yes.
the system for
There
not
you
mentally
go.
helping them. For not helping them. For them finding other ways to try to ease their pain instead of finding a way to turn that into fire.
There you
Turning
go.
their pain into passion. It's the system's fault.
There you
It's
go.
a lot of us for not being able to get it together, but at the same time, we can't fault them. We can't fault them for that. It's time to say, nope. Where's the solutions?
Come
How we
on
gonna
now.
move forward with this? And the way we do that is to get into these votes.
There you go.
We gotta start making it, whether we start making up our own policies
There you
and
go.
presenting
There
it
you
to the
go.
board, whether we
There
gotta
you go.
do petitions, whether we gotta go to door and have people sign whatever waiver we got. We gotta show this city while the eyes and everybody is watching the birthplace of the Black Panthers. We gotta keep that fire going. All of that. And it takes everybody, not just us, it takes everybody. And that's the flame that it was. It's because we went through all of the sources. We done been here, we done the work. We done been giving back to the community. Like she said, she done been to college, you got degrees, we
Yes,
got all this
yes,
stuff. But what
yes.
is it if we can't live with it?
There you go.
What
There
is
you go.
it? It's nothing.
So what we'd like to do, Kim, you're gonna bring us up, because there's a couple of announcements. I'm trying to see if Amara is in the office, back in the house. And
Is Amara here?
and if Emma is here, because they got a presentation to do. Emma's up there. Can Will, you can
Is she ready?
hook us up?
Is she ready yet?
2 minutes.
Okay.
All right.
So I wanted to say one. I don't know why I didn't see that, but there is a connection between the real estate and the schools.
Yes.
And I just wanted to say just a couple things about that. I mean, there's a lot of connections, but real estate is what's driving so much of what's happening. I mean, that's why it was so important what you guys did. A lot of the attacks on the working class and on regular people is being driven by real estate, by those same speculators that are keeping these houses empty. So, for example, a lot of the schools that are being closed, almost all of them that are being proposed to be closed, are in the flatlands of Oakland. That is destabilizing our communities where the working people live. They don't necessarily want us here anymore. The people that run this city and run the state and really that run this country are working with the real estate developers. The real estate developers donate to their campaigns. The real estate developers and the charter school developers are very connected as well. Actually, charter schools, part of the charter school working is real estate.
Yes.
So I was part of doing research on a project that was looking at charter school privatization and how it relates to the housing crisis. And one of the things is that these so-called public charter schools have these for-profit arms that basically rent out the real estate to the nonprofit side. So it's like the same people basically break into two, here's my for-profit side, here's my nonprofit side. I'm gonna have to pay with my public dollars that come from our tax that take money from McClymonds and the other regular schools and pay my for-profit side of my company to rent out real estate space. Does that make it, is that fair? Does that sound fair at all? That's like if, you know, me and him are friends and he says, I own the for-profit side and I'm the nonprofit. Let me give you the dollars to keep my school open. Now the charter schools are also taking the public dollars from regular public schools. So that's why a lot of our schools, like McClymonds and some of the other schools, don't have the funding that they need because it's going to the charter schools. At the same time, the charter schools aren't better. Most charter schools are not better than most public schools. They're actually failing just like some of our public schools are. We need, it's a lot of mismanagement and there's a lot of underfunding. And like everybody's been saying, there is, or I don't know if this has been fully said, there is plenty of wealth in our society for everyone to have a high quality education. There is plenty of wealth in our society for everyone to have a home to live in. There's no reason. The moms also already helped to uncover that there's like 4 empty units in Oakland for every homeless person.
Right.
It's not a scarcity problem, it is a distribution problem.
There you go.
We the people need to get our so-called elected leaders, we need to get elected leaders that are gonna represent the community for one thing, and we need to pressure them to use the resources and the benefit of all the people. The people of Oakland need housing, the people of Oakland need public education that is high quality, and we can have it. We can have it by doing what the moms did. Are we gonna get it? Are we gonna do something to get it? Are we gonna keep getting it? We're gonna try to go to that rally on Thursday at 6:30 and support, we're gonna find out the location before we leave.
Right.
Thursday at 6:30, because that's when we come together and meet other like-minded people like ourselves.
If you could put the slideshow.
Okay, so take it away. Ms. Amara Kassan is a student here. I want to say she's a psychology major. Did I make that up?
I'm a psychology minor and a political science major.
All right. Okay, take it away, Amara.
All right, so this presentation is based on the article "The $1 Billion Campaign to Re-elect the President" by McKay Coppens, published in The Atlantic. Disinformation is more than lies. It's a deliberate attempt to make you believe false information, and it is everywhere. It's spread especially easily and primarily through social media. McKay Coppens, author of The $1 Billion Campaign to Re-elect the President, decided to investigate and make a blank Facebook page with a generic name. Once Coppens had his account ready to go, he followed Donald Trump and anyone else recommended, like Ann Coulter and Fox Business, and many Trump fan pages. A multi-million-dollar ad campaign during the impeachment inquiries aimed to mold the understanding of the American people. It painted Trump as a hero cracking down on foreign corruption, and the Democrats as plotting a coup. These false narratives were amplified by right-wing websites, and soon McKay found himself questioning what had actually happened in reality. Sickly edited video clips by the Trump campaign made it look like the impeachment testimony was an exoneration of guilt. This is a common strategy for liberal leaders around the globe. Instead of shutting down voices of dissent, they simply drown them out. This is called censorship through noise. After the 2016 presidential election, fake news was running rampant. Not only were places like Russia and Macedonia creating fake news and internet trolls, but the Trump campaign and his allies started to adopt the same information warfare tactics that have kept demagogues and strongmen in power. The gentle vocabulary used in the US around disinformation, like alternative facts and muddying the waters, takes away from the seriousness of the threat to our democracy. In our news, there's a big focus on the Kremlin and Russia's disinformation campaigns against their own people. China's suppression of information, like Tiananmen Square, or the Philippines' strongman president's fear-mongering to justify shooting anyone doing anything with drugs in the street. All of this makes it easy to feel like disinformation is a faraway and foreign problem, but it is rampant in the United States as well. Micro-targeting is a key tool in disinformation. Micro-targeting is when you target ads to only a specific niche of people. As McKay states, an ad that calls for defunding Planned Parenthood may receive a mixed response nationally, but target it to 800 Roman Catholic women in W.Q., Iowa, and its reception will be much more positive. This is often used to perpetuate disinformation. In the 2016 presidential race, a few days before the election, Trump's team tried to suppress the black vote by running ads into solely African American users' feeds that read, "Hillary thinks African Americans are super predators." This was a blatant attempt to keep African American voters away from the polls. Micro-targeting is not only a Republican issue. It will happen this year on both sides of party lines. But Donald Trump has an advantage. The Republican National Convention has collected over 3,000 data points on every voter in the United States. This means that Donald Trump can tweak and change his ads based on not gender and geography, but on whether the recipient owns a gun or watches the Golf Channel. With over $1 billion set aside for ads for Trump's 2020 presidential election campaign, the disinformation campaigns have barely begun. From June to November in 2016, Donald Trump ran 5.9 million ads on Facebook, while Hillary only ran 66,000. A CBS News and YouGov poll has found that just 11% of strong Trump supporters trust mainstream media, while 91% turn to the president for accurate information. This dynamic makes it all but impossible for the press to hold the president accountable, something Trump himself understands. Remember, he told a crowd in 2018, what you're seeing and what you're reading is not what is happening. Hundreds of innocuous-sounding publications have popped up, meant to look like local news sources. Readers are given no indication that these sites have political agendas, despite the fact that many of them are owned and run by a conservative activist in Illinois. This is precisely what makes them so valuable. According to one longtime political strategist, candidates looking to plant a negative story about an opponent can pay to have their desired headline posted on some of these sites. By working through a third-party firm and not paying these sites directly, candidates are able to obscure their involvement in the scheme when they file expenditures to the Federal Election Commission. Even if these stories don't fool savvy readers, the headlines are convincing enough to be flashed across the screen in a campaign commercial or slipped into a fundraising email. Disinformation is a tactic used on both sides of party lines, and it is one that will be rampant in the 2020 elections. It is more important than ever to get out there and vote. We need to use our voices to fight for freedom for the American people, and our generation must be the one to make a change. It's easy to feel like one vote doesn't matter, or that the entire system is rigged against us, but we are the only ones who can make a change for a better future. Disinformation is used to suppress our votes and to control political dissent. The best and only way to combat this is with our votes.
Can everyone join me in taking a deep breath? I feel like all of this stuff that we're talking about is very necessary. It can be a little heavy on the heart. So join me. All right. So my name is Alisa Ray, and I serve as ASLC secretary here at Laney. It's my second semester. I'm studying political science, and so I'm organizing with the Sunrise Movement. I think that one thing is very clear standing before you all, and that is that our country is dealing with a great amount of pain. Our people are dealing with a great amount of struggle. But I think that it's important to acknowledge that in coexistence of the suffering that we are experiencing today still lives the movement and the call to action to continue the work of our ancestors and leading our people towards liberation, right? Right? So, of course I'm gonna go blank because I'm nervous, but, we're dealing with the suffering and I'm here to invite you all to become a leader with me and thousands of others across the country and join me in the Sunrise Movement. Now, how many of y'all have heard about the Sunrise Movement so far? All right. So we're trying to build something out of Laney, and I need all of your help. So Sunrise is building an army of young folks to pass the Green New Deal, which I'll explain a little bit in a little bit. I'm sure most of you have heard about it. So we're going to pass the Green New Deal, and we're going to create millions of jobs on the way. And what we need is to build political power, and how we're going to do that is by doing what I'm doing today. Just standing before you all and asking to join me. Let's exchange conversations, let's tell our stories, and let's move towards the collective goal of passing this. Now, the Green New Deal, a lot of people talk about it like if it's some sort of God-saving bill or resolution. It's not. It's an agenda of policies and bills that we want to eventually pass. It's going to kind of liberate our folks from the dying planet, the socioeconomic injustices that we see today, whether it be in the form of housing justice, water accessibility, clean air, pollution. This New Deal agenda, we got it. We got something going for us. So, the Green New Deal has 5 principles, and I'd really like to share those with you because I think it's very powerful. And I'd like to ask all of y'all to join me in some snaps if any of these really resonate with you. Let me get this out really quick. What was that? Slow down. That nervousness, my bad. Bear with me. Thank you. Also, I'd just like to acknowledge that all of this work comes out of a long history of scientists telling us, like, yo, we don't have that much time. And corrupt politicians at the top working very systemically to make sure that our folks ignore it, somehow take on the blame ourselves, thinking that we gotta, stop eating meat, or which is very important also, or maybe we should cut down on our plastic and it's our fault, but it's not. What we know is the truth is that it's the politicians. And so a recent study by the UN scientists, the Union of Concerned Scientists, that in itself is a little bit powerful. They're letting us know by 2045, around 14% of Alameda County will be underwater, which means that, well, not underwater, but not able to live in. And this will become more difficult to live in because of flooding, and many residents might choose to move already, which is just going to exacerbate the displacement that we're dealing with today. And so there's a call to action. It's happening. It's real. Climate change ain't up for debate anymore, right? So, Green New Deal. The only plan put forward to address the climate catastrophe for the catastrophe that it is today, it's radical, and it's unprecedented, and it's what we need. So, 5 plans. 5 key. So, achieve net zero greenhouse gas emissions through a fair and just transition. Anybody down for that? Yup. Yeah. Create millions of good, high-paying jobs and ensure prosperity and economic security for all people of the USA. Yes, ma'am. 3, invest in infrastructure and industry of the United States to sustainably meet the challenges of the 21st century. Second to last. Secure for all people in the USA for generations to come clean water, access to nature, community resilience, healthy food, and a sustainable environment. And last, and what arguably is most important, to promote justice and equity by stopping current, preventing future, and repairing historic oppression of indigenous communities, communities of color, migrant communities, deindustrialized communities, depopulated rural communities, the poor, low-income workers, women, the elderly, the unhoused, and folks with disabilities. Right. So, the Green New Deal is a 10-year plan to mobilize all folks of all walks of life together in passing this. We can't do it alone. So, Laney is building a hub here that is going to represent the Sunrise Movement. And I'm asking each and every one of you who are present with me in this moment right now, whose attention I'm holding, to join me and bring your voice into this fight. I'm standing here and I'm asking for everyone to understand that we need you. And you, as a young person, have an obligation to secure the livable future of our future generations. This is our moment, this is our time, and we need you. So join me in building this movement out of Laney and eventually striking on Earth Day. It's going to be really big, and it's going to signal to the government that we are listening, we are watching, and we're going to take participation. So, the Laney Hub will be meeting on Thursday at 11 a.m. I invite you all, come talk to me, come learn a little bit more about the movement, and let's get this thing started. So my name is Alisa Ray, one more time. I got a partner right up there. She's not listening, but that's Jazz. Where's your hand, Jazz? We want to work with you, so join us. Thank you for your time.